Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about mental health. I feel a bit guilty sometimes that I have this space to like waffle, and the act of waffling often just helps me like get past whatever I'm hung up on. Just having a place to vent does a lot, right? And then it's like, oh, creator problems. When I don't like using this term too often, but like privilege, right? I feel like it can be all too easily a bit of a problematic term. Whereas I think that's because of like cancel culture and stuff, where the idea of privilege can just simply be to kind of acknowledge, like, hey, this is not something that every person has. So you acknowledge that at the same time. But a lot of the human experience is relative. There are some very happy people in poor countries, and you might think that being in a poor country would make you unhappy, but it turns out it's not quite how things work. Tends to be a lot. There's a lot of studies suggesting it's inequality that makes people unhappy. So like the larger the inequality, then you have your unhappiness. But sort of going into a little bit of a tangent here. Struggled again recently with some things here and there, weighing on my mind, trying to figure out what it is. This trip came along at a good time because it just gave me some like breathing space to just do something different and not really think about YouTube. And I've kind of realized that I'm sort of like obsessed with what I do. I think is my takeaway. Like my mind ticks over about videos and all this kind of stuff constantly. It ticks over whenever there's something creative going on nearby, because as a creative, I feel like I see something happening and it's almost like I can jump into that space because it's creative like I am. And I feel like this has now sort of become a source of like perpetual distraction or like thought wandering. I'm just noticing how like my mind is always like ticking over to this other place of like the what ifs and if only I had more time. And I feel like it's been unhealthy. I feel like it's slowly built up, and despite doing all of this thinking in the past to get my head around like numbers and interacting with YouTube and like what am I here doing and what's it all about, I've sort of wandered off keeping that like close and sort of told myself the story without fully enveloping it. So, I know on some level, oh, this is the problem, but then am I actively, let's say, catching myself in the act, like noticing what's going on in my own head? And I feel like I haven't been. I feel like I've just let my mind wander too much and not really kept things in check. So lately, I've just been doing some really like simple things. Like I've been trying to get off this sort of content treadmill of, oh, there's this thing that you could be listening to. There's that video that just came out. As it seems to take up like a fair bit of time. Like I'm always like on something. And then when I watch those things, they're in an environment where like there's these metrics, views and whatnot, and it flips me back round to thinking about viewership on YouTube. How is my channel doing? And then when those numbers aren't so good, like there's this dip just occurring at the moment, and I've been doing this a long time. You see dips happen every now and then. Sometimes the reasons are obvious, sometimes they're not. But they come and go, and I'm starting to wonder if I should install a plugin that just removes the view account from YouTube, and I should like get rid of the studio app on my phone, or at least move it to somewhere it's less accessible, and just try and get my head away from these things and get closer to like, what do I want to do? And sometimes what I want to do is just watch a classic movie, or I've been watching a lot of Rick and Morty, right? But like I don't give myself those indulgences because like I've always got to be doing something new, doing something productive, or this or that. And I don't think it's working anymore. I don't think like that approach is helping me much. So I decided to deliberately just indulge in some of these things that I like a bit more and take my foot off the gas. Give my mind that resting space when it starts to go, oh, gotta do this, gotta do that, gotta make a video. I'm just like, can't keep doing this, right? So that's kind of been where I'm at, and I now feel like I'm at a crossroads where I kind of need to build it into something actionable. Like I'm figuring this stuff out, but now I need to make changes, like changes on my phone, so certain apps become more difficult to access, right? Like, where else did I spot it recently? I just noticed my mind like ticking over this way, and it was just somewhere I didn't expect. It was some sort of semi-social media thing on my phone, and it had like a view count on it, right? Let's say there's a topic I'm really interested in and I can make a video about it or something like that, and then I see like this viewer count and it like ticks my brain back over to like make video, make success on YouTube. And I think what I need to do is trust myself a little bit and program myself not to do that anymore, because I, for the longest time, was seeking success on YouTube and enjoying that, ambition. And now I don't think I am anymore. I think I'm just past it, and I need to kind of accept that and now start to like build out a new way of being that isn't attached to it in that way, right? Like just get to a new place, get to a new level. That's where my head's been at, and I think I've got to start building it. I've been thinking about like what videos do I want to make that don't relate to like what works, and can I make those videos? And the answer is like, yeah. But then the thing that's holding me back is always just the what if it doesn't perform, or stick to what works. And I think after doing this for now 11 and a half years, it's maybe time to just let go of performance and numbers and maybe focus on my own metrics. How much did I enjoy that? Like, am I satisfied with like reading the comments and seeing some cool feedback? You know? Maybe these are the things I need to value now. Little Spagbowl says, have you seen Stutz on Netflix? It's about mental health and it's got some really good tools. And Jonah Hill is doing a good thing bringing these helpful ideas to the masses. It's on my list to watch. Oh, you've literally reminded me of the thing that triggered me. It was actually Netflix that like triggered me off a little bit. Whenever I log into Netflix, its little algorithm like shows you a show. If you didn't know, like the presentation of a show is also curated to your tastes. So if you're a fan of like horror movies and there's this new thing out, maybe it's got nothing to do with horror, but they'll make like a art asset that is similar to the horror style and show you that because it kind of matches these other things that you like. So yeah, it knows how to like pique your interest basically. And I've got this busy day ahead of me. Got to do this thing, got to do that thing, and then Netflix shows you some TV show that looks really interesting. And it's like, oh, another thing on the list that I'll probably never have time to watch. And it creates this weird like relationship with enjoying stuff and time. And so another thing I've been doing of late is taking my time with things a little bit more, trying to be a bit more in the moment, like, and not thinking about what's next, just taking the time to like do the thing. So sometimes, like, let's say that's cooking, just don't worry about what the next thing is, just enjoy this right now. Trying to get into that mentality with things, and Netflix does this thing where when it shows you the next thing that you could watch, it's like a bit of an anxious reaction of just knowing you don't have that much time, and there's all this stuff out there that you could watch, right? It's a very common thing that people can like get depressed and upset about all the things they won't do in their life and not see it from a perspective of like the miracle of having a life to begin with. Whatever you do is already a win in some respects. So yeah, I've noticed how that creates a little bit of anxiety, and there's like content shelves on many apps and websites that you visit where there's all these like things that you could also watch, and I've noticed they've just been a bit triggering. They've been like setting off some sort of tripwire, and you're like, oh, I could be doing that. Carl Doom says, remember that you're trying to train a 10-year habit out of you. It's not going to happen overnight, and you'll need to be patient with yourself on that journey. Actionable steps are good, but the reprogramming the brain is going to take time, and that's okay and normal. When you think about what you could do, remember your own strengths and talents and what it is you bring to the table. It will exclude lots of possibilities and help you focus on what would be worth doing. I like that last bit a lot, Carls. I need to perhaps really dig into that on a deeper level, because when you put it in that way, yes. I'm going to copy this, and these are great thoughts that I need to think over. I need to find a moment, again, always busy, right? I need to find a moment to just have time to think some of these ideas that are forming, think them through, and really figure out those actionable steps. I've got ideas of what they will be, and thanks to my cognitive behavioral therapy that I underwent years ago, I'm actually pretty like in tune with catching my own thoughts, self-analysis, and then like restructuring my thoughts. Like a lot of my thoughts in my head used to work against me, and I've learned how to sort of spot them and distance yourself from them. And these days, some of those thoughts come around, and it's like, oh, you again. You know, you've been quiet for a while. Yeah, I'm not gonna pay attention to what you have to say anymore. I got these other thoughts that are more helpful. So yeah, I need to start doing that. I think I've just been caught up in the pace of everything and haven't had that like time to just like bring it all together. And I feel like I've just had that lately. I've somehow just landed on it. Maybe more through fortune than my own doing. And so, you know, what does this mean to all of you watching who consume my content? I think you're definitely going to see less content from me over the next 7 weeks due to all sorts of things going on. But then after that, I think my content, there'll still be the update videos, but I think the other stuff that I want to do, it's just going to come less frequently, and it's going to kind of just be different from what I've been doing. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't even be thinking about what it is yet. Just think about how I take actionable steps on like what's happening right now. Usually January is my favourite Xisuma month, says Talbar. Yeah, usually I get something like going in that month, like we do a project, or we do like daily streams, or we take on something at a different angle, and I probably would have done something like that. I also had a lot of plans to do a bunch of jobs that just build up over the year that end up on a list, and then you open it up in January and you're like, oh, I'll have time to do some of this. All of that's gone out the window due to some things that I have to do that I can't talk about, and I'll be able to talk about it at some point, but until that day arrives, my time is just going to be a bit hectic and all over the place. I would like to try and keep streaming, but it'll be difficult. So yeah, I really don't know what's going to happen other than knowing I would like to do more, I guess. So did you enjoy the waffle? Want to hear more stories and thoughts? Check out the playlist link below if you want more videos like these, and of course subscribe to the channel to catch future ones, and go to linktree.xisuma.co if you'd like to find links to all of the other activities that I do, including playing guitar, making music, Minecraft videos, and much more. Go check out that link.